morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gents. This is your boy Casanova from Orlando, Florida, on this awesome and international podcast, Good Wine and Great Left. Ladies and gents, welcome to Casa Casanova. If you are new to my YouTube channel, I am Casanova, ladies and gents, and every Saturday morning at 10 a.m., I have the wine of the day, ladies and gents, followed by the topic of the day. I'm going to open this wine shortly, give you some information about this wine. I got a new device that got to open this wine. I'm going to show you shortly, ladies and gents. After talk about this wine, I always give my grade about what I think about this wine. And the picture of the wine of the day is going to be always available on my social medias right here. If you like my review and like to try, feel free to go to my social medias, look at the picture of the wine bottle, ladies and gents, take to a wine store, and if you purchase any of those wines that are here, that I have here, ladies and gents, just do me a favor, make a comment on any of my social medias or here on this YouTube channel and let me know what you think about the wine of the day, ladies and gents. I don't give no money, I no sponsorship for any wine company, ladies and gents. I just want to see your comments about and your review about the wine that is being presented here, ladies and gents. So if you like wine and like good hot topics, ladies and gents, this YouTube channel is for you. So today is Saturday, January 25th, 2025, and the weather here in Orlando is going to be generally sunny, highs of 63 and lows of 45, ladies and gents. It has been snow in Florida this week. It's going to be, to me, or Central Florida, it's no snow, but it has been cold enough for me to enjoy, to have my fireplace lit up a couple times, and I love it. Give me a break because when it's March, all the way to November, it's going to be hot as hell here in Florida. So I appreciate this nice cold weather, ladies and gents. So before I start talking about the topic of the day, let's talk about the wine of the day, ladies and gents. I have this brand called Nisia Old Vines. You can see right there. Okay, I'll take my glasses off. This is Nisia Verdejo Old Vines, vintage of 2023, and Rueda, denominación de origen. I believe Nisia is the brand. Yes, Nisia Old Vines. It's here Verdejo Old Vines, a faint smudge on the expansive sandy plains of Rueda, the village of Santuste de San Juan Bautista, is home to the ancient ungrafted Verdejo vineyards, which have weathered years of plague and windy droughts in the sandy soils from the Duero River basin. The resulting grapes are perfect and create a wine with exuberant complexity for surly and barrel aging, produced and bottled by Bodegas Vatam. Alcohol percent of this wine, ladies and gents, is 13.5. 100% of Verdejo Old Vines white wine, product of Spain. And I found this wine also at Costco, ladies and gents. So, always a lot of stuff show up on my YouTube channel or my TikTok related to the wine. Anything related to wine, I love it. So, I got this. It's called ASO. The ASO wine opener, ladies and gents. So, let me open here. Excuse me. A little bit technical difficulty to open these. Hold on. There we go. Comes like there. And also it can be used as any beer opening right there. And if you pull this out, it comes just like that. So there are two types I found out. That's the first one right here that you can see. And there's another one that comes that has this piece right here as well. Another piece that just comes just like that. So basically, if you have these two pieces, it's basically part of this here. But I like this more interesting because you can have an issue that the cork breaks. So as you can see, pay attention, there's two sides, but this one side is longer than another. So you're supposed to put the long side first and then wiggling all the way down. And move this glass here so I don't want to break it. That's the first time you use an A-saw, ladies and gents. A-saw, whatever they call. And it's supposed to go all the way. And then you start to pulling up. Lift it up. Ooh. Oh, don't burn. I think that's right. Hold on, let me start all over. Put this long here. I think my mistake that I did not push all the way down like you're supposed to. There we go. Now it's coming up. There we go. I like these because, like I say, it happened to me before. I use one of these right here to open, and for some reason, because the age of the wine, the cork start breaking. So I like the ASO better as far, if you have any wine that's kind of at least like 8-10 years old, something like that. So that's the ASO right here, like another option for you to open your wine bottle. And then you can also use that to put the cork back to. But what I use a pump. I showed that before. There's a little rubber that go over here. And then there's a pump that uses to take the air out of the wine. That's the best way for you to keep the wine in your refrigerator for a long time. So today, you're going all the way up because the top cup of the day. All right, ladies and gents. I go over here. Embrace for impact, because if you pay attention on the thumbnail of today's episode, you already know what's coming. I even put it's supposed to be just a little bit for tasting, but this is a very good and very crispy white wine. I do like it. I will make a comparison with the Pinot Grigio, a little bit. It's between a Pinot Grigio and a Sauvignon Blanc, right in the middle. Excuse me. Every time I drink my first sip of wine, start coughing right away, but whatever it is. But it's a good wine, ladies and gents. The Nisia Old Vines, I definitely recommend it. And once again, the picture is going to be available on all my social medias. And I found this wine at Costco here in Orlando, Florida. All right, so let's jump right on the top, ladies and gents. Embrace for impact, fasten seatbelts, because welcome to the shit show in the fuck factory, ladies and gents. What we're talking about, Casanova. I'm talking about, you're going to see 3 videos related to what's happening on this Trump administration. I already told you before that I'm not surprised. I see a lot of stuff that going on social media that people being surprised on what Trump is doing, because he's doing exactly what he say he's going to do. A lot of people do not believe it. Sometimes he denies, say, oh, the Agenda 25, and don't know anything about that. Just like Peter denying Jesus, one that now he about to be caught. Hey, that's the man that was walking to Jesus. Peter denied Jesus. I never heard of it. No, nothing about it. It's like exactly what Trump did on Project 2025, and this man's already implemented a lot of stuff related. So let's watch these videos right here. Let's get why I keep drinking this wine. And at the end of these 3 videos, more likely this wine bottle is going to be empty. And I'll give you my 2 cents about what I think about this video that we are about to watch together. So it is showtime. Gents, first video they're going to watch with me is going to talk about executive orders. What is executive order? Because right away Trump started trying a lot of executive orders, and I know a lot of Americans do not know shit about civics. They have no clue about. So let's start from the beginning so you can understand what is the executive order is all about. So you can understand what's going on and why Trump is doing all that.
On January 1st, 1863, Abraham Lincoln legally changed the status of over 3 million enslaved blacks across 10 states from slave to free. His Emancipation Proclamation wasn't a law or a presidential decree. It was an executive order. The framers of the American Constitution made the power of the executive order available to the executive branch. But what exactly is this tool? How does it work? And what is the extent of its power? Well, an executive order isn't a law, but it can carry the weight of one. Passing laws involves a fairly lengthy process. First, a member of Congress proposes a piece of legislation in the form of a bill. After many committees and revisions, if the bill is approved by a majority of votes in Congress, that is, both the House and Senate, the bill is then sent to the President for signature. If the President signs the bill, it then becomes a law. An executive order, on the other hand, is something the President issues without consultation or permission from Congress. They are, however, enforced like laws and are subject to judicial review by the court system to make sure they're within the limits of the Constitution. That means the courts have the power to invalidate any executive decisions that they determine are an overreach of the President in trying to assert power. And once the President leaves office, if his or her successor wants to eliminate the executive order, they can do so. So when does a president use an executive order? Sometimes a president feels the need to exert power without working with Congress. And in times of crisis, quick decisions can be justified. But most executive orders are not responses to emergencies. They're often directed towards agencies in the federal government in order to expand or contract their power. Others determine the extent to which legislation should be enforced. And sometimes, a president may use an executive order to clarify and help implement a policy that needs to be easily defined. Some of the most famous executive orders have changed the course of American history. FDR issued an executive order to establish the Works Progress Administration, which helped build thousands of roads, bridges, and parks throughout the country. The WPA also employed thousands of writers, painters, sculptors, and artists to create works of art in public spaces. Additionally, Harry Truman used an executive order to desegregate the armed forces in 1948. And in 1965, Lyndon Johnson signed an executive order to establish requirements for non-discriminatory practices in hiring and employment. Executive orders have often been used in positive and inclusive ways, but they've also been used to exclude and divide. One of the most notable examples being FDR's 1942 executive order. He gave the military authority to target predominantly Japanese Americans, as well as German Americans and Italian Americans in certain regions across the country. This executive order also removed any or all of those people into military zones, most commonly known as internment camps. Beginning in the early 1960s, each president has issued roughly 300 executive orders, but FDR issued over 3,500. At the other end of the spectrum, William Henry Harrison never issued an executive order, probably because his presidency only lasted 31 days. The U.S. Constitution is somewhat ambiguous on the extent of the president's power. That's resulted in executive orders expanding over time. For instance, since Lyndon Johnson, presidents have begun issuing orders to create faith-based initiatives, establish federal agencies, and remove barriers for scientific research. There are checks and balances in the U.S. political system. Congress can pass laws to counteract executive orders, and judges can halt them by deeming them unconstitutional. But in the time it takes for those things to happen, an executive order can go into effect and possibly change the course of history, for better or for worse.
Isn't it amazing to see how national media, how they are just absolutely kissing the behind of Elon Musk. Some of them literally ordered their folk not to even bring up or show the Nazi salute. So this is what happened at Trump's insurrection fest after the inauguration. Elon Musk was one of the speakers.
There are elections that come and go. Some elections are, important, some are not. But this one, this one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
He was finishing his speech, and he walked out all excited, running around, and then he does this salute. Do we have it fixed now? So Elon Musk, at the rally, he does this salute. Now, what's funny is that, or not what's funny, so what has happened is that after he does this, I mean, all these people, I mean, social media goes crazy. People like, wait a minute, what did we just see? And then you got folks sitting here, oh my goodness, that's not what he did, that is what he did. He didn't do it, he didn't salute. I mean, you've seen, I'm talking about a whole bunch of back and forth, what they claim he did not do. Now, first of all, let's be clear, he did it twice. He did it twice in the particular video. And so just go to my iPad, watch this. So one time he does it again. Okay. Now here's what's crazy.
I guess
again, you have the right folks. You have them defending him. Did y'all pull the video of the Nazi protesters and they compared the two videos? Did y'all pull the video? All right, roll it. No,
Elon.
The Nazi video, no, not that. That's from the hearing. That was a video where these Nazis were protesting. They did the sign, and then they played Elon. And it looked the same, looked the exact same. Now, I'm going to find it, because y'all don't have it? All right, anyway, I'm going to find it. This is the ADL statement. So the Anti-Defamation League, now, they call out anti-Semitism all the time. Y'all had a statement? Please pull it up. So the ADL issues a statement where people were hoping that they were going to check Elon Musk, and this is their statement. This is a delicate moment.
What?
It's a new day, and yet so many are on edge. Our politics are inflamed, and social media only adds to the anxiety. It seems that Elon Musk made an awkward gesture in a moment of enthusiasm. Not a Nazi salute, but again, we appreciate that people are on edge. In this moment, all sides should give one another a bit of grace. perhaps even the benefit of the doubt and take a breath. This is a new beginning. Let's hope for healing and work toward unity in the months and years ahead. Now, mind you, the ADL called Elon Musk on anti-Semitism last year, and he threatened to sue them. I wonder that's why the ADL all of a sudden is skittish. Now, let me also say this here, which is quite interesting. On all the hate boards, the hate groups, they called it a Nazi salute.
Right.
Somebody just told me the Italian chat boards, they're calling it a fascist salute. Folks in Germany are saying, oh, we know what that is. That's a Nazi salute. But it's quite interesting, Mustafa, how the ADL would release that and folk trying to give him cover for what he did as if we didn't see it with our own eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, we went through that with the last Trump administration, where we were supposed to not believe what we saw or what we heard, or what some people experienced. You know, it's interesting also. So we know facts. Elon Musk was raised, in the apartheid South African system. We understand that is rooted in racism and white supremacy.
Back further, his own daddy said that his grandparents were with the Nazis in Canada. They moved to South Africa to support the racist apartheid regime in South Africa. Go right ahead.
Yeah, thank you for building on that. I was going to just end up saying that. So, you know, and when Nazis and other white supremacists say, we see you, thank you for acknowledging and joining us in the way that we see the world, then, you know, I don't know how others come out and say, well, that's not what he did. If the folks who that's how they get down say, yeah, we now got the richest man in the world who is a part of our symbolism. Let me just leave it at symbolism, because symbolism actually sends a message to folks about what you believe, how you get down, and who you're going to fight for. So, you know, they can say what they want to say, but at the end of the day, you know, the truth is the truth, and we're not dumb people.
Joy, go to my iPad. Let's compare the two. So watch this.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Look quite damn simple. Just in case anybody missed it, let me go ahead and just run that back. Okay, just watch this again.
Thank you. My heart goes out to you. It is
I look pretty damn familiar, close to me, Joy.
It was exactly that. It wasn't close. It was it. We all know that. We need to stop. There's no one out here arguing about it. We know what happened. It's clear. Let me talk about the Anti-Defamation League. And I spent the whole first part of this segment wondering what I was going to say. I've worked with them before as an ally. Jonathan Greenblatt has done more damage to that organization and its reputation than any other leader possibly could have. He's probably filled their coffers more. He's probably, done other things, but he has damaged their reputation. And at this point, he's gone full circle to where he would be supportive of someone that he knows is an anti-Semite. He knows is a Nazi apologist. He knows engages in supporting bigoted language online. This is about money. This is about having common enemies, right? Elon Musk was critical of people who were critical of Israel. This is about being transactional. That's what this is about. So we should not be surprised that ADL has found itself in this situation. I pray that they will find new leadership. I also pray that some of the other Jewish organizations who are out there speaking against what Elon Musk did, we can put them out there in front and let ADL recede until it's ready to come back and be its full self again. I'm sad for them.
I'm sitting here. I'm gonna play it again, Joe. What's amazing to me, well, I'm gonna talk over it, so pull the audio up too as well. I mean, this is the 20-second clip. Listen.
There are elections that come and go. Some elections are, important. Some are not. But this one, this one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
And this is also a man who is now aligning with far-right and Nazi sympathizers in European countries trying to impact other elections, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying is, when you don't really see this for what it is, what you're saying is, here's a guy that can quack, swim, and have webbed feet, and you're swearing it's not a duck. I mean, once again, you're going to be in the situation where people that are supposed to have credibility, organizations that are supposed to have credibility, that rely on our support, are actually going to sell themselves short and tell you that you didn't see what you actually saw. This make-believe thing is incredibly, incredibly dangerous. And you have to be concerned about how it affects the media. I mean, even the media is talking very little from what I can see about the fact that Donald Trump was the reason that TikTok was on the ropes to begin with all of that time ago. Media is saying very, very little about it. And so it's a danger when people won't say what it is that needs to be said, or when people will act like they didn't see something that they actually did. Elon Musk has the background. He has the history. He has, he's had problems before in terms of an Anti-Defamation League and all of these particular things. And suddenly, however, the Anti-Defamation League comes out very quickly and says with confidence, apparently, that this wasn't what we all saw that it was. And I think that that's a problem, and that's going to continue being a problem.
Of opinion, the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief Donald Trump has dismantled affirmative action in federal contracting. On Tuesday, the Office of Personnel Management issued a memo instructing agencies to place diversity, equity, and inclusion office staff on paid leave, and all public DEI-focused web pages must be taken down by 5 p.m. Eastern today. These employees are expected to be laid off. Some have already been laid off. This executive order on affirmative action revokes a directive issued by President Lyndon Johnson that dealt with the issue of discrimination in federal contracting. Joining us right now is Damon Hewitt, President and Executive Director for the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. Don't ask me why he's wearing a purple tie being an alpha. Plus Ron Busby Sr., of course, President and CEO of the U.S. Black Chambers, Inc. No surprise he got a little red in his tie because he's a little Kappa. All right, let's get right to it. Damon, I'm going to start with you. First off, look, we know these guys have been targeting DEI, but the going after the Lyndon Baines Johnson executive order is a whole different thing, because that dealt specifically saying you can't discriminate in the hiring of folks when you're getting federal contract. That's a whole different conversation.
Well, look, we always knew, Roland, that they were going not just after issues, they're going after people and also going after the money.
Right.
That's exactly what this is really about. The same reason why they went after federal contracting programs after the Students for Fair Admissions case, the higher ed affirmative action case. And so this is really troubling. The message being sent here and the implications of this rescission is that federal contractors no longer have to undertake affirmative duties to root out discrimination in their own workplaces and their processes. This is essentially an invitation to discrimination.
Yep.
And the message that is open season on Black workers. And, look, federal contractors represent 1/5 of the entire U.S. workforce. So this has massive implications for everyday working Black people.
And let's be real clear, which people don't seem to understand. Republicans used to support the civil rights laws. But when Barry Goldwater's book, The Conscience of a Conservative, came out, that flipped it. And then they opposed the Civil Rights Act. You've had conservatives and Republicans who have been saying that a person should be allowed to discriminate. And so that's really what this is about. They do not want to be held to the laws, the civil rights statute saying you cannot discriminate in the hiring. What they're saying is we want to be able to hire anybody we want to, and this is a burden telling us that we can't that we can't discriminate against somebody black or Latino or Asian or somebody who's a woman. That's what this is really all about.
Yeah, we're going to enter a period as follows. Number one, we're going to remind folks of the facts on the ground, but also the law, because no matter what Trump says in an executive order, that doesn't change Title VII. That's the law of employment discrimination. That law was not changed by the Supreme Court decision. That law has remained the same for a very long time. And so these employers have affirmative obligations. What this EO from 1965, the year after the Civil Rights Act, did was it added a layer of protection. It added a layer of affirmative duty for federal contractors to make sure that they were complying with Title VII. So we're probably going to enter a period where this law will be in contest, a period of people talk about rapid evolution. This could be rapid devolution of workplace culture, of open season on black workers and brown workers. And so we're going to have to meet these people in the courts of public opinion, but also in the courts of law.
Ron, I want to go to you. When that idiot Trump was there last time, you and I talked, and they stopped collecting racial data, correct?
Correct.
So the problem is we didn't know what was happening. We didn't know what contracting was happening. We didn't know who was it getting. We didn't know if it was an increase or a decrease. And that they stopped collecting racial data across the board, correct?
Correct.
So when it came to, then what they did was they started bundling contracts instead of typically what happens on the Democrats, they unbundle. The only Republican who actually understood the unbundling of contracts was actually George W. Bush. And so typically Republicans, they bundle them back. And so really what we're seeing here with the attacks on, when we see these executive orders, couple that with last year, those federal judges ruling MBDA and also the 8A program, what this means, and this is what I kept warning people during the campaign, even now, what they're doing is this is going to have a direct impact on black businesses getting contracts, correct?
People don't understand that. And as we had been talking, and I know you have been saying it, Roland, voting and elections have consequences. And we had been saying for years, and we saw it during his first term, he tried to come out with the ban on Muslims. He got caught up in the process of George Floyd, and it took his attention away from his original plans. This time he came out the gate making it very clear that he was concerned about his supporters, about his billionaire friends and trillionaire friends, and making sure that the programs and the conversations that he talked about during his first term were going to be implemented immediately upon his inauguration. And we have seen that happen already.
And again, I want to reiterate this. And this is for all of the Simple Simon Negroes who on social media, who were doing radio, television interviews, talking about Trump is going to be putting money in our pockets and how all these things are going to be going down. What they need to understand is that what they are doing is they are going after the money. And then when they target Walmart, when they target McDonald's, when they target corporate America, they're not just saying, oh, let's get rid of these DEI offices. They're going after supply diversity, or what John Rogers with Arrow Capital calls business diversity. And so what we are going to see, and black people need to wake up, over the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years, we're going to see a material decrease in billions of dollars flowing to black-owned businesses who largely employ black people, who fund HBCUs and black interests. And so that is going to be the direct impact of what Trump and the Republicans are currently doing.
Let me make it more clear. during Obama's first term in office, the goal for minority spend was roughly 5%. He surpassed that and hit 7%. His second term in office, the goal was then 7%. He surpassed that goal and hit 9%. If you heard when President Biden got in office, the goal was to go from 11% to 15%. That scared the nation. What we found out was, as you've been discussing, the disaggregation of the numbers, because they will tell you it's 11%, 9%, 5%. But as you have just mentioned, we never knew what that meant to the Black community. And so during this last administration under President Biden, we said we were interested in three things. Intentionality. Let us know what you were doing for the Black community. We wanted transparency. We wanted to know what that percentage meant for Black businesses. And then we wanted accountability. We wanted to know, okay, well, if they're not hitting the numbers, how can we motivate them and what can we do to improve the conditions for Black-owned businesses? And so the reason why MBDA, Minority Business Development Agency, was the first place to go under attack is because while we were there, the goal was to get the increase for Black businesses from 1.5% of the entire country spend to 3%. I had Black people fighting back on us saying, well, why 3%? Why not 13% or 10%? Understand this. Of the $960 billion that the country spends every year, $640 billion is set aside for products and services that all of us can apply, compete for. Of that.
So hold on. The $960 billion, that's what the federal government spends.
That's what the federal government.
Go ahead.
$640 billion is really available because the other portion is for the military. So of that $640 billion, 11% of that goes towards minority firms. But I want your audience to understand who is included in that minority. The second thing I want them to understand is it did not come out easily in reference to the disaggregation of the numbers. It was leaked out. And so once it was leaked out, then the federal government had to address it. And what we found is that of the 11%, the Asian community received 1.8% of the minority spend. They had the fewest number of businesses registered to do business with the federal government, but that's fine. They had large contracts. The Hispanic communities received 1.71% of the minority spend. Black business community had the largest number of businesses that were registered and certified to do business with the federal government. We received 1.5%, the least of all of the ethnic communities. And so you ask yourself, well, where is the spend going? White women, not women, white women received 78% of all of the minority spend. So people are saying, well, Ron, what are you guys doing to fight back on these attacks on DE&I? And I ask myself, well, where are white women? Because they have the biggest law that's available to them, whereas we have the biggest opportunity to gain in this conversation. And so the U.S. Black Chamber, along with other business organizations, are going to continue to fight to make sure that we have our share of the wealth of this country.
Now, one quick thing, ladies and gents. White women got this big share because they are the #1 beneficiary of affirmative action. So the people think it's going to be all just black people. Now, white women is the #1 beneficiary of affirmative action, but they still vote for Trump and all Republicans. Keep that in mind.
Now, again, before I go back to Damon, you gave the 1.5%, but also I want to speak in terms of actually real numbers.
That number represents about $10 billion.
And that $10 billion is the most we've ever gotten.
The most we've ever received. And to be honest, it was 1.5. Then in 2021, it went to 1.55. Then 2022, it has now gone to 1.61. So we, under Biden administration, have improved our conditions. We've improved the spend. We've improved our share. Now we cannot turn back and go back to where we were before.
Yeah, and so Damon, this is the thing that I think the people have to understand when we talk about the battle over civil rights. That is a direct relationship to the battle over civil rights. And that's what Dr. King understood. It was called the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. That was economics. He said in that speech, of course, which the goofy pastor on Monday did not mention when he talked about America giving black folks a check stamp insufficient funds. And he always talked about, we came here to get that check. What people need to recognize is that the fight over these civil rights laws is direct because the conservatives, by targeting affirmative action in colleges, impacts black wealth, because we know a black college graduate makes more than a black person with a high school diploma, but a white man with a high school diploma makes more than a black college graduate. When they're targeting these, when they're targeting the law schools, now they're targeting, in terms of affirmative action for medical school. Then they're attacking a program in Minnesota to increase the number of black teachers, to increase the number of black doctors. When they attack these programs, they are attacking the ability of black people to make high 5-figure, 6-figure jobs and earn 7-figure jobs. This is a money battle, Damon.
It is. Dr. King recognized that we could have laws that allow you to eat at lunch counter in a non-segregated environment. But if you can't afford to buy the lunch and buy the meal, then what are we doing here, right? Mm-hmm. So just to paraphrase Dr. King. So these folks understand this. They are trying to take any means of opportunity and cut it off at the knees. And frankly, if you read this executive order from Trump, labels them as illegal, labels entirely lawful methods as illegal, even things that aren't about race-conscious elections. This is not talking about set-asides or quotas or anything of that sort. This is, and that those things have their place, but this is all about entirely race-neutral methods of training, of education within workplaces among contractors, and also, let's call it insurance, to ensure that folks aren't being discriminated against. They're calling the efforts to stop discrimination in and of itself. So it's all about limiting economic opportunity from every avenue of American life.
Absolutely. Damon Hewitt, Ron Busby, I appreciate both of y'all joining us on the show. We're going to have this conversation, trust me, a hell of a lot more over the next 4 years.
Thank you for having us.
We'll be here, man.
Bringing my panel right now, Rebecca Carruthers, Vice President, Fair Election Center out of D.C., Jade Mathis, Esquire, with the Jade Mathis Law Firm out of D.C., and Political Sis, social media, political activist out of Knightdale, North Carolina. Glad to have all three of you here. Rebecca, I'll start with you. I keep saying that if you go down 2 blocks from here, there's only one federal agency that shares a lawn with the White House, and that is the Treasury Department. White House is power, Treasury Department is money, power and money. If you ain't having a money conversation, you're not having an American conversation. And what people need to understand, which is why I wrote this book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. This is a money conversation. And what these right-wing MAGA people are pissed off about, they do not want to see black people continuing to advance. And so they want to shut down all of these programs that have aided African Americans in being able to generate wealth.
Facts.
You know what, Roland? I spent a lot of time talking about how I grew up in the Midwest, Nebraska specifically. And one of the things I really learned about racism in this country, especially when my family would go to the South to visit relatives, is in the South, white people generally don't care about what you have as long as you don't live next door to them. If you live down the street, that's fine. You can have whatever you want. But up north and also in the Midwest, they don't care if you live next door to them. They don't care if you live across the street, but you better not be doing better than what they are. And so what's interesting with watching this new administration, the second term of President Trump, like you said, this is purely a money grab because quite frankly, $10 billion in a near $1 trillion budget really isn't that much money when we talked about the 1.5% that black folks as a racial minority gets in these different set aside to make sure there's a diverse supply chain within the federal government. And like when you talked about that 78% number, 78% of that, like $660 billion is going to white women. So in the grand scheme of things, $10 billion isn't that much for our community. It's not that much across the United States, quite frankly. But the fact that we are even getting that for some of these people, that's the problem, because they feel like we should not be getting anything.
I mean, here's what's crazy, Jay. The white woman in Tennessee that sued the 8A program, here's what was crazy. She was a part of a program for women. That's how she was able to get contracts. She then sues the 8A program saying, oh, I can't participate in that, and she never even applied. So the white woman was mad at the program for minorities, and she was mad that it didn't include her, but she had no problem with the program that was for women, for white women like her. And this is what we are dealing with. These white folks talk about, oh no, it needs to be a meritocracy. It needs to be, oh no, we shouldn't have double standards. But they got no problem. We know white folks are getting a hookup for their whiteness.
Yes, and speaking of hookup, that is one word Trump never uses, or we don't hear often uses, nepotism, right? They talk about everything else, and we want it to be equal here, and gender rights, and all of this, but nepotism was the one key word that he always leaves out, which he was the beneficiary of, right? And I essentially feel like what Trump is saying about DEI is that he's implying that it's discriminatory, but it's only discriminatory when whites, Asian Americans, and white women, when they don't get their way or when they don't get the positions that they want. That's when it's discriminatory. I think that's the part that he's implying and willingly not saying.
No, he's not implying, they're actually saying it. That's what they're doing. Political sis, go ahead. You on mute. You on mute.
I don't.
Now, there you go. Go ahead.
Okay. One thing I don't think they understand, especially white women, veteran white men, is how DEI impacts them in a good way. When it comes to Obama, along with the LBJ executive order that Trump took away, Obama added the gender along with gender identity, I think. But that's going to affect white women as well as black women. So I think that's something we need to keep in mind. And I don't know why the Democrats, especially here in the South, can't drill that into white working people, white working women people. But I think if we can do that, then we can get somewhere with some votes.
But then that's going to require people to have a conversation they frankly are unwilling to have.
They're scared to have.
Of course.
All right, ladies, and let's play this video here on my phone that I found on Reels on Facebook. Let me see if you guys can see this right here.
Gay, the Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning. But the problem is our communities are divided. For Asian Americans and for African Americans, we probably have one of the worst relationships between any community.
Well, I bet you a lot of Asian Americans too don't, in my experience, don't even realize that if it wasn't for the civil rights movement, there would not be 22 million Asian Americans in this country.
Thank you. What I have been trying to teach the Asian community is like, friends, do you understand that your success, your prosperity, your civil rights that you enjoy right now was paid for with black blood? I always tell people the day the Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning. But the problem is our communities are divided. For Asian Americans and for African Americans, we probably have one of the worst relationships between any community.
Well, I bet you a lot of Asian Americans too don't, in my experience, don't even realize that if it wasn't for the civil rights movement, there would not be 22 million Asian Americans in this country.
Thank you. What I have been trying to teach the Asian community is like, friends, do you understand that your success, your prosperity, your civil rights that you enjoy right now was paid for with black blood? I always tell people the day
So, ladies and gentlemen, I played this twice for you to remember that. So, the shenanigans that Trump came with the executive order to eliminate the civil rights and acts is going to just don't benefit black people. When the civil rights was passed, it did not just benefit black people. It benefit all minorities. All minorities got the cut of that, including the gays, the lesbians, the LGBTQ, all the letters community. They get benefit of all that. So that means, say, this executive order is going to affect all of them too, not only black people. Everybody else is going to be affected of that. So I said before, I'm going to say again, it's going to be, I'm seeing this on social media all the time. People being surprised now. Now the Latinos for Trump skin now being surprised. One thing too that I pay attention. Every time that Trump say, I'm doing this for my supporters. For the average Joe, if you do not wake up yet, that does not include you. When Trump says he's going to do this, that for his support, the only thing that he came through for his supporters basically is for the January 6th convict that he just signed for everybody. So it doesn't matter. And like I said, it's the order, fraternal order, the police now is mad. They support Trump. Now they're mad because a lot of people that beat it and that police officer killed and injured, serious injuries. You know, they're on the loose right now. But he's talking about the criminals, the immigrants, the criminals. Most of the immigrants, I would say, rolling the dice, I would say probably 90% of all immigrants that come to America do not commit crime, especially the Mexican people. Do they have the problem in their own country, Mexico, for the drugs and cartel? Yes, they do. But the immigrants that here, I went to Mexico many times, you know, and I haven't seen Mexican people are the most kind, the average people. I'm not talking about the wealth. I'm not talking about the people that are involved in drugs. I'm talking about the average people in Mexico. They are very honest people. They are hard workers, and they are very kind of people. Everybody, every time they went to Mexico on business trips and wherever the people that I dealt with, because one thing about me when I go to a foreign country, I like to explore, you know, and I like to go to Latin countries because I can practice my Spanish too. So I can get in the conversation with the local people, have some information. You know, I have some great conversation on my last time that I went to Mexico with the guy that was working the resort, you know, related to the culture and everything else, the struggles of being Mexican, you know, working the resort and all that. You know, but most of them, they're hard work. Look at all the constructions. Look at the construction, the agriculture, there's slaughterhouses, you know, the fish market, all these, they have a bunch of Latinos because they are very, very hard-working people. You know, so for Trump to say that they are the criminals, they are not the criminals. They are trying to get a better life for everybody, take care of their families just like you try to take care of your family. You know, but now Latino, for example, now, they're freaking out now. The Cubans, oh yes, the Cubans, I'm telling you a long time ago, the Cubans think they're better than everybody in Latin group. Now they're about to get the business. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a shit show after the shit show in the fuck factory. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. I'm not surprised about anything that Trump signed as executive order or anything that he's doing because he play you guys. You know, that's nothing to do with the cut of the price of eggs. He admit though there's nothing to do about it, the increase now to decrease the price of the groceries, to increase the price of rents, utilities, none of that. He is not. You're not included. Every time that Trump say, I'm going to do this to my supporters, the people that gave them millions of dollars. Elon Musk. I have a theory, as far as Elon Musk is concerned, that he has something to do with the election. There's some fraud going on in the election. I believe that. The reason I say that because Joe Rogan said in his show that 4 hours before any prediction as far the elections be done, Trump, Elon Musk already knew Trump won. He was in the little get together, but he left. According to Joe Rogan, go to his show, his podcast, he say that. So that's, to me, there's some manipulations on the number, some way, some kind, because some people are talking about that from probably some of the machines that was involved in the election had something to do with Elon Musk's business. So it's kind of like Carter B say, there's some kind of suspicious, you know what I'm saying? But that's one thing that I believe. So that's my suspicion. And so for him to be all over giving out the Nazi salute and people start to deny, come on, man. Really? Really? So now the civil rights, like I said, there's more to come. There's going more to come. And all the poor people, the middle people that vote for Trump, he doesn't care about you. There's nothing going on the cost of gas, or the cost of food, the cost of living. That's not going to nothing. For the next 4 years, right, I'm telling you, the next 4 years of this administration is going to be focused on the filthy rich and the white supremacy agenda. That's it. This is it. Now, there's little people, the black people, oh, Trump gave me the stimulus check, I'm going to give you shit. He's not going to give you, none of that. If you believe in the okie dokie, that's on you. I'll be here drink my wine and be laughing. Because I know, I'll be just like Caesar, like Nero, when the Roman was on fire. He was playing his harp. And the city, everything, because I knew, you tried to tell you this is going to happen, but you guys did not believe. You guys thought that he was joking. You guys thought that Trump is about to take care about you. Really? Okay, fuck around and find out. You're going to learn today, homeboy. You're going to learn today. So I'm just here, like I say, welcome to the club. Welcome to the shit show in the fuck factory. It's going to be 4 years of this. Every week, it's going to be more of this shit. And they're like, oh my God, what happened? And another thing too, he already pulled up the United States from the World Health Commission, something like that. The United States is out. So if you have another pandemic coming through or another serious disease, brace for impact. There's going to be a whole lot of people dying. Maybe you'll be included on this now. If you escape COVID, maybe you're going to be in the next come. You may not make it. Because this man doesn't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? But hey, according to you guys, he's a Christian, right? He's the same. Hey, you want a king? That's what the Hebrew people say. God don't want a king. You want a king? He saw, and that's exactly what Americans getting. You're getting Saul right now as a king, and that's gonna happen. So I'm not surprised or anything that Trump does for the next 4 years. None. Nothing's gonna be shock me. Nothing's gonna be nothing because I already knew this is about to happen. So, ladies and gents, if you like this video, please click on the like button, subscribe, share this video. If you'd like some more information about this wine, go to my social medias, and look at the picture of it. It's going to be available for you right there. So please be safe, be kind, and be blessed, and do the best what you can do with what you got. Salute. And I'll see you next Saturday. Holla!
to the top.